open at 6:28 p.m. The first order of business is the election of the Deputy Shire President. The Deputy President is to be elected by members of Council in accordance with Schedule 2.3 of the Local Government Act 1995. The election of the Deputy President is to be conducted by a secret ballot. Under Section 8 of Schedule 2.3 of the Local Government Act 1995, I ask the CEO, Mr. Martin, to conduct the election of the Deputy President.
Thank you, President Coles. So nominations for the position of Deputy Shire President can be made either in writing prior to today's meeting or in person now. I have received 2 nominations in writing prior to today, one from Councillor Tricia Duggan and one from Councillor Shay Mack. Are there any further nominations for the position of Deputy Shire President? There being no further nominations for the position of Deputy Shire President, I'll close the nominations. And so the 2 nominees are Councillor Tricia Duggan and Councillor Shay Mack. The drawing of the positions on the ballot will be determined by lots, and I'll now ask the Manager of Governance Strategy to place the names of each of the nominees into a separate orb, which is a little blue ball. These orbs will be placed in the tumbler and randomly selected out. The first name to be drawn will be the name that appears first on the ballot, and so forth. First name on the ballot. This was Shay Mack. Thank you. Second name. Councillor Tricia Duggan. Thank you. Thank you, Manager of Governance and Director of Corporate Services. So the ballot, I'll now ask the Manager of Governance to print the ballot papers with each of the nominations of the name that was already just determined. And while that occurs, whilst there's no provisions in the standing orders of the Local Government Act for the candidates to give some address, in previous years, nominees for the position of Deputy Shire President have been invited to provide a short statement in their favour for candidature. I'll ask each of the nominees to speak in order of their position on the ballot. According to the convention, I invite the nominees for their position to provide a short statement in favour of their candidature. So first of all, can I ask Councillor Shay Mack to come forward up to the lectern and say a few words about your candidature, please.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Mr. CEO. I first started attending council meetings in 2016 before making a decision to nominate for council in 2017. I ran on a platform of honest, transparent and accountable government. Although I was unsuccessful, I still attended council and electors meeting. It was at an electors meeting where I put forward my first motion for an independent inquiry into the budget blowout on the Abernethy Road upgrade project. Subsequent review led to changes in our procurement process for the better of our Shire and for these sort of budget blowouts in the future to not occur. I continued in this manner until I was elected in 2022, fresh election following the court proceedings, which everyone is aware of. Since being elected, I put up numerous notices of motion to both advocate for and review policies, continue and improve our processes to get positive outcomes for our ratepayers. All of these were supported by council. I believe it is important that we learn from our mistakes, but more importantly that we review our policies to make sure we don't make the mistakes again in the future and minimise our risks to all ratepayers. This has been consistent with my belief that good governance, good policy and good processes lead to good decision making. As your deputy, I'll support the president and always respect the wishes of council, even when they differ from my own personal opinion. I'll also be receptive to both positive and negative feedback from the president. The Local Government Act 1995 defines the role of deputy, that the deputy mayor or president performs the functions of the mayor or president when authorised to do so under section 5.34 of the Act. As your deputy, I'll be prepared to perform these functions when needed and authorised to by the president, but will also be supportive of a decision of the president authorising another councillor to perform this role where he feels it would be more appropriate. Together, we can be stronger.
Thank you, Councillor Mack. Councillor Patricia Duggan, would you like to say a few words about your candidature?
My statement tonight is actually not to discuss a personal attribute of either Councillor Mack himself, purely because Councillor Mack's integrity and tenacity is without doubt. And so if that is seen as a point of difference, the councillor's job is easy, because that's the most important. However, what I do want to discuss is the other contributing factors that affect our community if we are to elect a deputy president. And those are things that neither Councillor Mack or I have any control over, but they do have a big impact. The first of those is that I've been on council for 2 years, and it's certainly circumstances beyond Councillor Mack's control that he hasn't been on. I know in those 2 years, the first one was very much about putting together and learning all the information that we need to know to be a good councillor, to be able to learn and know our governance, to make sure that we keep our residents safe from any lawsuit. And trust me, there seems to be the ability to find one anywhere. These things that we learn in the first year can't be learnt by sitting in a gallery. They really are things that you learn when you're sitting in the seat. And for that reason, I believe that the 2 years experience does make a significant difference. Another factor that is out of the Councillor Mack's control is the fact that I am a South Ward councillor. We have a fantastic president who has spent 6 years representing the North Ward as a councillor. In that time, he's really got to know how the high density area of our Shire works. And I commend him for the last few months where he's really reached out to learn more about our rural parts of the Shire and what those residents need, which is very, very different to those in our high density areas. My 2 years on council, I think, will benefit President Coles because I can share that knowledge that I've gained in that time. I also believe that, more importantly, it's about what the message we send to our residents, that the two positions of seniority on council held by someone who understands the urban development and those who understand our. And the third factor that I wish to discuss is one that I wish that I wasn't. And that is that as I look around the table and see the directors, CEO, president, and councillors, I'm the only female. Gender equality to me is about when who's sitting at the table isn't discussed, whether it's male or female. And unfortunately, to get to gender equality, we need to first get some gender parity, which means we have about equal of males and females. And the only way we get to gender parity is by showing that we have females who are in those roles that are senior roles, and that other people can then, other women can look at that and go, you know, if she can do it, maybe I can. And that might be being a counsellor. It might be looking at going for a higher job in their position, in their role, whatever business they're in. I'd love to be that role model. I'd love to be that person. Sorry, this actually means a lot to me. That someone can look at and see that a person can be compassionate, but they can still be passionate about an issue. That they can be sensitive, right? But they can really still have strong debate, and they can still really know what's going on and put their hand up and speak. I want to be that role model. Last paragraph. With permission, I'll read directly from my notes, simply because it's one that I want to make sure I get right. Regardless of who is voted as Deputy President, I look forward to an honest, enthusiastic, informed, respectful and positive working relationship with Councillor Mack and all councillors. We have the benefit of a really strong team of directors led by an exceptional CEO, has shown in other LGAs that he gets stuff done. I believe we're at the start of a golden age for our residents. We have the potential to do amazing things. I'm so excited, and I look forward to sharing this journey with the Shire staff, residents and councillors, be that the role of Deputy President or Councillor, and that I leave to my fellow councillors. Thanks.
I'll now ask the Manager of Governance and Strategies to give us a brief overview of the voting process and if and how the preferential voting, optional preferential voting applies to this election.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. In 2023, optional preferential voting is to be applied to all local government elections, including elections for the President, elections for the Deputy President and committee presiding and deputy presiding members. However, where there are two candidates and only two candidates, the election is determined by the first past the post method, with the person receiving the most votes being elected. If there is a tie, the local government is required under legislation to hold a second meeting and conduct a second vote per Schedule 2.3 of the Local Government Act. If it is tied again, lots are to be drawn to determine the winner.
Thank you. So I'll now distribute the ballot papers to each of the elected members. When you are called, I'll ask you that you move. I'll sign the back of the ballot. I'll ask that you come and pick it up and then move over there to the voting area behind the blue screen, and ask that you rank your candidates in preference of one being the most preferred to be Deputy President. If you spoil the ballot paper, you can ask for a replacement, and obviously it's a secret ballot, so I ask that you don't declare who you've voted for. So, in order of alphabetical order, can I ask Councillor Nathan Bishop to come forward and make your ballot behind the screen and then place it in the ballot box with the Manager of Governance. Thank you. Councillor Morgan Bias. President Rob Coles. Councillor Tricia Duggan. Councillor Reece Jarrett. And Councillor Shaymack. Mr. President, councillors and members of the community, Councillor Tricia Duggan received 3 votes. There was 1 informal vote, and Councillor Shaymack received 2 votes. So I declare Councillor Tricia Duggan elected as Deputy Shire President. Councillor Duggan, would you like to go across and take your oath in front of Mr. Wigg, please?
Duggan of 3 Whitegum Rise, Byford, have been elected to the office of Deputy President of the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly, faithfully, honestly and with integrity fulfil the duties of the office for the people in the district according to the best of my judgment and ability. I will observe the code of conduct adopted by the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale under section 5.104 of the Local Government Act 1995.
Madam Deputy Shire President, would you like to take the seat of the Deputy President on the right-hand side of the President, please?
I didn't have far to move. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Under clause 8.2 of the Shire Standing Orders, Local Law 2002, as amended, the Chief Executive Officer will now conduct a random draw for the allocation of councillor seat positions. I ask Mr. Martin conduct a random draw for the allocation of the remaining 5 councillor seat positions.
Thank you, President Coles. Each of the names of each of the councillors will be now placed into a separate orb, and the Manager of Governance and Director of Corporate Services will do this. The order of the seating will be determined from the President's right in a clockwise direction. In other words, the first name will be allocated to my right and so forth, and we'll work our way around. And as you may realise, members of the gallery, with President Coles being elected, there is a vacancy, and so the vacant seat will be over where Councillor Mack is currently sitting. So we'll allocate the rest of the seats, and the person that's elected following the by-election will occupy the seat Councillor Mack is currently sitting in. And I would ask councillors, once as the names are drawn, just remember where you're sitting, and we'll do the moving around once all the names have been called out. Otherwise, it will get very messy very quickly. Third name to be drawn. Councillor Nathan Bishop. Fourth name to drawn. Councillor Shady. No. Okay, councillors. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you please take your seats? Thank you, Director of Corporate Services and Manager of Governance. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. So item 4 on the agenda is attendance and apologies. There are nil apologies and the invited guests, as alluded to by Mr. CEO previously. Public question time. There has been no public questions submitted prior to the meeting, but I would invite anyone who would like to ask a question from the gallery to please come forward and ask their question. Are there any questions? Okay, item number 6 on the agenda is public statement time. Again, there was no public statement submitted prior to the meeting, but if there are any people that would like to make a statement, please move forward now to the lectern and make your statement. Okay, item number 7 is petitions and deputations, which there are nil. Item number 8 is declaration of elected members and officers' interest, which there is nil. Item number 9, which is motions of which notice has been given, which is nil. Item number 10 is Chief Executive Officer reports, which there are nil. Item 11, urgent business, which there is nil. And item 12, elected members' questions of which notice has been given, there is nil. That brings me to item 13, which is closure of the meeting. There being no further business, I declare the meeting closed at 6:53 p.m. And I thank everyone for their attendance this evening. And on behalf of all